All right, so let's get started with the introduction. Okay, so as I said, welcome to our You Can Hack 2 panel with our previous hackathon winners. So first off, let's have Micaela introduce herself and just tell a little bit about herself and what she worked on her project. Go ahead.
Okay, hi guys, it's so nice to be here with you all. Now, my name is Micaela Mclean. I am 18 years old and I am from Jamaica. For my project for the last hackathon that I was a part of, the name of the project was Smart Peer Glass. Now, the Smart Peer Glass powered by artificial intelligence is a project that tells its users the appropriate products for their skin and hair. It provides you with certified instructions of how and when to use these products. It also detects the possibilities of developing skin cancer every time you use the glass. Isn't that interesting? Yes, it is. Okay, so what did I do in this project? So I pitched the idea to my team and designed the homepage and slideshow. So that's a little bit about me.
That's awesome. Okay, so next we have Kathryn. Go ahead, Kathryn.
Okay, so hi everybody. I am Kathryn. I am 15 years old and I'm also from Jamaica. My most recent hackathon was in August, and it was an all-girls hackathon where my team created a website that was centered around self-defense under the theme The Future Woman. Why we chose this, you might ask? We chose this because with the increasing statistics of violence against our women and girls, we wanted to create a new approach, arming our women with protective and defensive devices. Hence, the name of our project was Primary Protector. So this is an app that is paired with a self-defense device to enhance confidence in women about their safety, knowing that they're no longer weak but strong. So our self-defense devices were disguised. The idea was to have them disguised as modern day accessories like a belt or an anklet or a bracelet to avoid easy suspicion. And it would respond to voice commands, touch, and vibrations by the activation of the chip inside of it, where you could easily fight off an attacker with moves like Taekwondo and Kung Fu without any prior knowledge. It's cool, right? I know when we were thinking about it, we were even thinking that it was too futuristic, but it was a perfect fit. In addition, it would have been monitored by security teams. So if you ever found yourself in a situation where you were unable to fight off the attacker, a simple tap on the device would signal danger, and you could rest assured that somebody would be on the way to help you. Yes, this is our project. It was centered around self-defense. So to help in this project, I assisted with the development and the design of the website and presented on behalf of my group alongside my group member, Honey. Yes, that was what we did.
Awesome. Okay, so last but not least, we have Gabriela. Go ahead, Gabriela.
Okay, so hello everybody. My name is Gabriela Escobar. I am 17 years old and I'm from Quito, Ecuador, so my first language is not English. And I was in Micaela's group with the Smart Peer Glass. That was the team's project. And well, my role in the team was to sketch the design of the website, which is the image that is there. And well, Micaela, I already said, but yeah, the Smart Peer Glass. The idea was that the website will connect with the camera, so it will be like a mirror that identifies like any abnormalities of skin and prompts you to visit the doctor. it also had like medical features in which it calculates the likely of you to getting skin cancer due to prolonged hours in the sun or excessive exposure to ultraviolet rays. So yes, that's a little bit of the project and a little bit of me.
Awesome. Thank you so much for introducing. So these are our three panelists who are going to be answering questions about their experience in our hackathon. So let me stop sharing and we can get started with the questions. So the first question is, Gabriela, what does a hackathon mean to you?
Okay. Well, here I have like two answers. One is like the theoretical answer and one is what I will say of what I learned in the August Hackathon. And I will say from the theoretical part and that I was able to investigate and based on my experience in the August Hackathon is that it's an event, a time-based event. In our case was 24 hours based on like computer programming and coding. And in that you can like, I don't know how to explain, like materialize your ideas and basically what you want to do is like the power to materialize that that you have on your mind, right? And codes. So it's based on like solve problems of a defined theme. For example, in our case was about the woman of the future. And so it's a collaborative event in that you create a project which is, I will say, often a prototype, a website, an app, or everything. So you use technology to solve an existing problem, right? And once the project or prototype has been created, each group presented in front of the judges to be evaluated, right? However, since my experience, I will say, yeah, the hackathon is an opportunity, right? An opportunity to learn, to take risks, and to enjoy. In fact, that was my mindset when I signed up for the August Hackathon because I was really new in all this world. So I said, well, I'm going to learn from the workshops. It said that you don't need to have experience. English is not my first language, but let's see what happened, right? So yeah, it was really an incredible experience and a little bit crazy, if I tell you the truth. So yeah, that's what a hackathon means to me.
And that's awesome. Thank you so much. Okay, so next we have who benefits from being in a hackathon? Micaela?
Okay, so all participants benefit from being in a hackathon. Participants learn a new skill and meet people from and form networks that translate to friendships. So even now, I can say that Gabriela, way from Ecuador, is my friend. I can call her, I can text her, and it was so good to meet people from all over the world. So I'm saying everyone benefits from a hackathon. So join and be a part of the club.
That's so sweet. Does anyone have anything else to add? Kathryn, Gabriela?
I would say the same thing. Everyone benefits. And even now, my team members, they were Honey, Anisha, and Masvita. I can still call on them, even if it's not for the hackathon, or if I do not understand something in class, I can call on them and say, do you know how to do this? And they would be more than happy to help me.
That's so sweet. Okay. Next. So how did you get started in coding or get interested in STEM? Like at what age and how did you do that? Let's start off with Gabriela.
Okay, well, at my school in previous year, we saw a few tools that had a certain relationship with STEM. In fact, in 7th grade, I would say, when I was 11 years old, we start with this tool called Scratch, which is like block programming. So we have to develop a game as a block test, but we saw all that really like superficial. So I think that the next year that we start with this tool called RoboMind, and that it was about like a robot that you have to like press some commands, and the codes were transcribed in the screen. And that was the first time that I saw like codes really. So it was really interesting, but again, it was really superficial. So during quarantine, I get interested in all this. Also, I was like 24 hours in front of the computer. So I became part of an organization, or now it's a foundation called Unión Estudiantil here in Ecuador. And in this organization, there was this space called Director System. So in this space, some students from the university that were studying all of this related to coding talked us about tools that can be beneficial for us. And it goes like since how to edit a PDF online to tools related 100% to programming, right? So they talked us about this tool called PCInt, in that we learn about algorithms, yes. And then they talked us this tool, this app called Atom, in that we learn a little bit like the basis about JavaScript, HTML, and CSS. So it was really funny because all of my group didn't know nothing about this, and when they start teaching us, we start like asking questions, and the limit was basically our imagination because it was like a personal project and nothing related to school. So we were like free to develop all that we want. So yeah, that was when I get interested in all of this.
That's awesome. Super encouraging. Okay, so how about you, Kathryn? How did you get started in STEM?
Well, to be honest, I was 14 when this same foundation, the Nebula Shooting Stars Foundation, motivated me to begin coding in May of 2021. So that was last year, and I've been hooked ever since. I recall writing my first code and able to and it appeared on the webpage, and I was so astonished, and I couldn't believe what I had accomplished at the end of the workshop that I was a part of. I was really proud of myself, and the rest was history. So I really started here, and I'm thankful that I'm able to be on a panel talking about it, because I too am really a beginner. So yeah, that's where I started.
That's awesome. Okay, how about you, Micaela?
For me, I started when I entered the All Girls Hackathon in August, I think. I didn't have any experience with coding. They took, as Gabriela said, they told us that you don't need any experience. Just come and you will know what to do. And that is exactly what I did. I came with no knowledge. But after going through the workshops, as Kathryn said, I was hooked. It was so interesting to me that typing code could result in you doing so many things, making games, making homepage, making websites. So that's where I started. That's how I started. And for STEM, I started STEMing, doing STEM subjects in grade 9. So from there, I realized that, okay, I really enjoy doing these subjects. So let me continue because they're working for me. So that's my experience with coding.
Okay, so if you guys have questions this is for the participants, we will have a little bit of time at the end of the set list of questions that we have now. So the last maybe like 15 minutes, you can ask questions to the panelists. That will be at the very end, just as a reminder. Okay, so next question. Thank you so much for sharing, Micaela. Next question is, what are the steps in a hackathon, Kathryn?
Okay, so the steps in a hackathon are basically brainstorming ideas, splitting up the work on the project, and make the presentation to the judges. So let's start on brainstorming ideas. So when you are brainstorming your idea, you want to think about an idea that can change or would benefit the society at large. So if you know that there is a problem with climate change, how then can you use your code to help to solve the problem of climate change that we are currently experiencing? The next one is to split up the work. So when you meet your teammates, which will be done soon, I think, when you do this, you have to understand your teammates' strengths. So if you know that somebody is good at persuading others, that person, you would assign the role of presenter to them, so that when the presentation time comes, the judges will love the presentation so much that they will award you the winner. Because in some cases, your code might not be where you want it to be, but the presentation will really capture the victory for you and your team. Also, if you know that you have had experiences previously with coding, what you can do is be the head of the coding for the team. So you would be in charge and help the other teammates out in building the website. Lastly is, I think, the group coordinator. This person is responsible for ensuring that everybody is doing their job. So if it be a case where the presenter is probably not feeling too confident about their presentation, they can run it by the group coordinator, and then the group coordinator would help to make the presentation better. Working on the project, guys, I can't stress this enough. Time management is key. I remember the first hackathon, I couldn't even take a break because we were so focused on the design aspect. And then when the coding came into play, it was organization and time management, guys, is key. Normally you get about 8 to 10 hours to code, and that is not a long time. By the time you quit, the time is finished. And also, I want to leave with you, do not leave the presentation for the last hour. It doesn't work, because you have to have time to set up the presentation, rehearse, and ensure that your idea is solidified. So when you're talking to the judges, you're not confused any at all, okay? Because if you're confused, they're going to be confused as well with the idea. When you're making the presentation to the judges, which is the final step before they announce the winner, you have to be sure to define the problem. What are you trying to fix? Why is it necessary? Why is your project necessary? So please ensure that you have your problem statement. So for example, I think my problem statement was violence against women and girls. That's why we built the self-defense devices. So please ensure that there is a problem that you are trying to fix. Also, please ensure that the project links to the problem. Because if you are trying to do a project on self-defense, you cannot have a project on how to improve babysitting. It doesn't work. It's gonna look weird. It doesn't work, guys. Another pointer I want to give you for making the presentation to the judges, please use less images on your presentation. Use less text, sorry, and more images. Because if you use more text, the judges will be more focused on what is on the slide rather than what you are trying to sell them. So please use less text, more images. And lastly, for the demo, you don't have to, your website does not have to be fully functional. So when you're doing the demo to show them what you did in the last 8 to 10 hours, please ensure that if a button doesn't work, tell them what the button was supposed to do, right? So keep them engaged, and please ensure that they understand it fully so that you can really win this hackathon, because really and truly, I was a beginner, you are a beginner, and you have as much an opportunity to win as I had, okay? Yeah, those are the steps.
Wonderful. Thank you for explaining that. Okay, so next is Micaela. Do you need to know coding before you join one of the SSS All Girls Hackathons?
Not at all. I had no idea what coding was, but after actively listening into the workshops provided before the actual competition and practicing what was being taught, brilliant. I was ready and raring to go. So when you are provided with the workshops, go in, participate, ask the person who is doing the workshop questions. How can you go over it, please? Do it one more time. Don't be afraid, because you're going to have to do it all by yourself in a couple of days. So watch the workshops, go over it. It's going to be recorded, I think, and it's going to be posted on YouTube on their YouTube channel. The channel is called Nebula SSF. So go on it and you'll find the workshops and practice from the workshops.
Okay, amazing advice. Okay, next we have, is it okay to be a beginner, Kathryn? That kind of leads into the similar answer, but go ahead, Kathryn.
Yes, a resounding yes it is. Though it might seem that there's a very steep, rocky mountain in front of you, if you take it step by step, the one seemingly impossible mission will become possible. I remember when I was a beginner last year and this community was all new to me, I was very doubtful of myself and my ability to learn all the code in time for the hackathon. But the mentors who were in charge of the workshop, like Ansh and Tevin and Adwit, they made the information easier to grasp as they took it step by step. So in my first hackathon, when I was a beginner, I didn't do as much coding as the rest of my team members, but I did the presentation, which came across really good, and the judges loved it. So I didn't feel discouraged that they were more advanced than I was, but I used it as an opportunity to learn from them. And whenever I saw them writing a code that I was not used to or I did not know at all, I would ask them what it was for and how it worked. And can I tell you that I used that information that I learned, and in my most recent hackathon, I was the lead coder who helped to build the website, and I was so proud of myself. And if I can do it, so can you. So don't get overworked if your project is not what you had envisioned, because remember, you are a beginner. And as your coding grows, so will the outcomes. So use it even if you are a beginner, learn from those who are a little more advanced than you are. And as Micaela said, watch the workshops and become more accustomed, and you will be an intermediate as soon as possible. You will no longer be a beginner and feel doubtful.
Awesome. Okay, so my next question is for Gabriela. A hackathon is usually a team project, right? So you're working with the group to create your code and present to the judges. So how was your experience meeting new people, and what did you learn from working with a group of mostly new people?
Okay. Well, it was very interesting and fun to meet new people from different countries, and even more so in such a virtual space. And I really felt super excited when I found out that my group for the hackathon was made up of Micaela, who is from Jamaica, and Lakeisha, who, if I'm not wrong, if I'm not mistaken, was from the USA. If I'm not wrong. And well, as for what I learned working in a team, it was like the importance of collaboration and communication. At the beginning, it was all through Discord. And well, I really didn't handle much Discord, and everything was chaos. But I think that then when we managed to make like the call with Discord and Zoom to introduce ourselves first and second to define what we were going to do, for the hackathon was more reassuring, more easy for us. Also, of course, we were new in all this coding world and new to programming. So it was also like that support and confidence that the group gave you to spend all those hours working in front of the computer, looking for codes, watching tutorials, and knowing, for example, that Micaela was still connected by Zoom and was also there working and programming and coding her page. It was comforting, and it gave you like that energy to continue doing the same, to be able to have committed people, I will say. And I also learned that each person was an essential part on the development of the project, because we have to delegate, you know, like Michaela was doing like 2 pages, Lakisha also, and me also. So it was really comfortable to know that there are people that are working for the same goal. And on the other hand, it was funny because, well, my first language is not English, it's Spanish. So, and some, well, Michaela is not gonna be, won't let me lie, that it was difficult to understand. I think it was my accent. So it was funny and that part.
That's awesome. Okay, so kind of leading into that question is, what were some challenges with working with people that you probably didn't know? Michaela?
Okay, so being a Jamaican, I am comfortable with the way my fellow Jamaicans talk, but it was difficult for me to communicate with those who spoke an entirely different language or who had accents that I was not familiar with, like Gabriela. As she said, she did not, English is not her first language. So it was kind of hard for me. This included me asking my teammates to repeat themselves multiple times or talk 10 times slower. At one point, I was like, okay, Gabriela, please bear with me. I did not understand. But now, because I'm constantly communicating with her, I can sit now and hear everything that she says. But at first, and you're going to be in groups like this, where persons are talking to you and you cannot hear or you don't understand what they're saying, ask them kindly, please slow down. Nothing is wrong with it. Slow down or write. I remember telling Gabriela to write the English. I said, write it or text the English to me so I can sit and read exactly what she was saying. So sometimes these challenges may arise, but you just need to come up with creative ways to overcome them.
Awesome, that's super encouraging. Okay, so next I have, what did you learn in the hackathon overall, Gabriela?
Okay, well, from my experience in the hackathon, I will say that what I learned first was the importance of STEM, because we had this panel at the beginning, and it was really motivating and motivated me to continue with the programming part, because I was super nervous. As Michaela said, my English is not the best, and I didn't know like how I was going to start programming. I learned it from the workshops on how to start and program, because I was new in all of this. Well, in general terms, I learned the use of HTML, JavaScript, and CSS, like how to put a background, how to make a button, how to attach pages, and it was really enriching. Also, how the mentors gave us some pages to see codes was really like useful later for the development of the website. I also learned that you shouldn't be afraid to ask in the workshop because, as Micaela said, you will have to do it alone in the following days. So it's better to have like a guide or a general idea of what you can do and how to do it. And I learned it, well, it was after the hackathon that you can like search in YouTube for tutorials and videos to have a guide. And yeah, that's overall what I learned.
That's awesome. I think your English is perfectly fine, by the way. It's amazing. It's amazing to know multiple languages, and I know that's really difficult. So I think your English is great. Okay, so next, Kathryn did sort of go over this when she was talking about the steps, but a little bit more in detail. How are hackathons judged, Kathryn?
Okay, so first they're judged based on the originality of the idea, right? So the more original, the better. They're also judged based on the technical functionality and the design, how well, what did you do in the 8 to 10 hours, which is actually the coding, and how does it work? How does it function in terms of the buttons working? You're able to go to different pages on your website just to broaden the idea of what you are trying to brand to the judges. And the design is also important because if it looks good, you would want to use it more, right? It's also judged based on the presentation and branding. And in my opinion, this is the most important part, because if you sell your ideas effectively to the judges, you're going to win. You're going to win. You're going to win. I can promise you that. And in doing so, you have to sound passionate about it so that you would excite the judges about your idea, knowing internally that it's the best thing ever, right? So think about it like that. And the last way how these hackathons are judged is by the wow factor. What makes your project stand out? What's so unique about it that is so eye-catching that you want to use it more? So that's how hackathons are judged.
Awesome. So we are running a little bit short on time, so I'm going to ask questions for the future hackathons and for yourself as well. So what are some ways to prepare for a hackathon? Let's start with Micaela.
Okay, so first you need an idea. One of the most important things that participants should be aware of is that they should prepare before they dive into a hackathon. Make sure you have a full-fledged plan of what you're going to do. Next, communication is key. When a team is involved, it is essential to cooperate and communicate to ensure that everyone is on the same page. This will help with connecting with new and potential people and without having lengthy arguments and misconceptions. So communicate with your team members. Keep them in the loop of what you're doing. Don't try to micromanage, okay? So everybody feels like, okay, this is an opportunity that is worthwhile. Okay, the last thing is take full advantage of your mentors. The best thing about an hackathon is to work under the mentorship of market leaders. Hence, as a team, it is best to take advantage of your mentors. So when you go in and they come to you, ask them a lot of questions. How is this done? How can I do this better? I remember from my experience, Ash came in and helped me and told me, okay, Micaela, do this. Don't do this. Megan was also one of my mentors who came in. Oh my God, she was so sweet. And she said, okay, you can't do this. Let's do this a little bit better. So take full advantage. Ask them questions. They know a lot. I promise you. So ask them, and they are willing to stay and help. Okay? Yes.
All right, awesome. Thank you for that. Yeah, I loved talking with all the groups last time. It was awesome. Okay, so another question is, what will you do with what you've learned from the hackathons? Kathryn.
As I continue to practice coding and working on building my code, what I plan to do with what I've learned is actually to use my code as I grow in the code, use it to solve societal problems. So when I come across a problem that I see in my environment, I will use my code now that I've learned from the hackathon to help me to solve those problems, both on our website that I can probably show the proper people, and then they can too help fund to solve whatever problem it might be. Mm-hmm.
That's awesome, super inspiring. Okay, so leading into that question, what are your future goals, Gabriela?
Okay, well, my first goal, I will say, is to continue to grow and learn from coding and programming. Also, I am about to finish high school, so my goal is like to be accepted in university to study. Well, I want to study something related to coding. I was looking for maybe mechatronic or something related to STEM, science, medicine. I also, well, my goal as a personal project, I will say, is to develop my own website with what I learned and what I seek to learn in the future. And as Casman said, I want to develop this website with this focus on solve a problem, so I can apply what I learned in the hackathon. And yeah, I would say that those are my principal goals.
That's awesome. I love that you have those goals. Okay, so I have a question for all three of you. This is something that's personal, right? So what is some advice that you have for first-time hackathon participants as someone who's gone through a hackathon with SSF and have now done some things in STEM? Let's start with Micaela.
Okay, so the one thing I can think about is get some food in your system. Make sure that you eat a good meal. It's important because when it's time now to sit and do all that coding, it takes up time and you forget to eat. And then you start to feel weak and you're wondering, what happened? This is the first time I'm feeling like this. So eat and get something that is filling, because as Kathryn said, you'll be sitting down for 8 to 10 hours. That's a lot of time. Or have breaks. Step away from the computer for a few minutes and just rest your eyes and rest your brain and rest your fingers. And then you say, okay, I'm fine. Drink some water and then you go again. So that is my advice.
Very crucial advice, very crucial stuff. All right, how about Kathryn? What's your advice?
My advice for somebody who has not done a hackathon before is, in your group, ensure that everybody understands the idea. So when it's presentation time and, for instance, the presenter has some technical issues with their device, you can now pick up and and bring across the idea and answer the judges' questions, because I remember being in a room when the presenter had some issues. The group was not able to continue because none of them fully understood the idea, so they weren't able to effectively answer the questions. So ensure in your groups that everybody is solid on the idea. So if push come to shove and you have to fill in for somebody who is not there, you can do so. That's my advice.
Great advice. Thank you for that. And last but not least, what advice do you have, Gabriela?
Okay, well, my advice would be, well, don't be afraid to venture into this world. Ask all you want, be ambitious with what you can do with programming codes, because even the idea that you have, you can develop later in more deep. Remember that it's okay to be a beginner and that you have mentors that can help you into this path. That will be my advice.
Awesome. That's amazing. Okay, so that was pretty much all the questions that I had for the participants. So now if, for the panelists, sorry. And now if the participants have any questions, please type them in the chat, either direct message me or just put them in the chat for everyone to see so we can ask the panelists your questions now. We have like around 15 minutes for that. Okay, let's see. Okay, so do we have to code a website? Also, where can we watch the workshop videos? About the workshop videos, they are on the SSF YouTube channel, and I believe that one of the emails should have some sort of information about future workshops as well. So that will be about the workshops. About having to code a website, you want to answer that, Kathryn?
Could you just please repeat?
Oh yeah, sure. So do the participants have to code a website specifically?
No, you don't have to code a website specifically. You can code an app using, I think, JavaScript. So you don't have to. And you can make it your own. You can, if that's what you feel more comfortable doing, because I started out in HTML. I didn't really know JavaScript. So I just went off what the workshops were entailed. The workshops entailed. So that's what I started off with. But if you feel like you are able to code an app, I feel so happy for you, and you can do so and show off your skills, of course.
Awesome. Okay, so another question we have is, what kind of benefits will this program give us in the future? Micaela.
What kind of benefit? Okay, so it opens a door. If you have never coded before, it teaches you how to code. What are the steps to code, how to do it, how to bring, because one of the first things that I was taught was how to get my name on a screen, how to get it in different fonts, how to change the color like you're doing Word. So for this program, I think it just broadens your knowledge on coding. And then from there now, you can go off to do bigger things, because this gives you the foundation of what to do and how to start. If you didn't know how to start before, here gives you the foundation of how to start, so you can go on to study bigger and better things at your universities or wherever you choose to go if you choose to continue coding or continue a career in coding.
Awesome. Okay, so another question we have is, are the social problems we solve in the hackathon chosen by the group or the hackathon administration? Gabriela.
Okay, based on my experience in the last hackathon, well, obviously every hackathon has like a central topic. In that case, it was chosen by the hackathon administration, and it was about the women of the future, right? So yeah, I would say it's chosen by the hackathon administrations, and it's like the topic that you have to base all.
yeah, so adding on to that, so we have a general topic chosen by the hackathon administration. So basically, last time, as Gabriela said, it was Women of the Future. And then underneath that broad umbrella, you can have like different problems underneath that umbrella that you can solve. So it's a big umbrella, but make sure that your project is under that umbrella solving the problem. So one one problem that these panelists solved was skincare, right? So skincare and beauty related, and that's under that umbrella of Women of the Future. All right. Let's see. Oh, I have a question about, do you have any advice for people who are shy? Who wants to answer that question?
I will go. If you are shy, I totally understand. It's a personality that some of us have, but I would say before even start talking about coding and the group work and what everybody's supposed to do, go in there and start off with your name, what you like, just general things about yourself. So now you feel comfortable, because persons who are normally shy don't feel comfortable with who they are around. So what you can do is start off with what's your name, what do you enjoy, look for similarities between you two, what you like doing. I remember when I was in the group, that's how I started off with Gabriela, and she was telling me that she loves to draw, and I was like, oh my gosh, I like people who draw too. And although her type of drawing was way different from mine, that's something that we could say we are similar in. So she likes to draw things that are creative and innovative, but I do more technical drawings. So when you're placed in a group, start off with things that make you feel comfortable around the person. How are you? How was your day? What do you like? Your favorite color? And you will be surprised to know that, okay, let me pick some names. Peyton and Violet probably like the same colors. Just anything, just start up a conversation, and you'll be surprised how easily you fit in, and you'll no longer be shy.
Amazing advice. Okay, so I have some technical questions here that I can quickly answer. Will there be provided some sort of certification? Yes, so you have participation certificates, and if you win, you'll also get winner certificates. Okay, so, and another thing is, when are the teams usually announced? They're announced a couple of days before you actually start hacking. So for this one, it would be a couple of days before the 19th of February. You don't have to use a specific program for coding. The workshops that we provide have usually HTML, CSS basic coding, but if you have, as one of our panelists mentioned, if you have the skills, you can absolutely demonstrate them, right? So if you want to use a different language, Java, JavaScript, HTML, CSS, I don't know if there's any other language that you want to use to make an app or a website, you can totally do that. Any language is completely okay. All right. How are we going to be connected to the hackathon all day long? That's through Discord, and I will go into that information a little bit later too. There was also an email sent about that. Is there going to be a theme for the social problems we solve that we're supposed to follow when coming up with project ideas? Yes, as I said, there's like an overall overarching theme. Like last time it was future woman, and then under that big overarching theme, you have to pick a problem and then solve that problem. Okay. What is done with the ideas and the code we make? Gabriela.
Okay, in our case, well, when we end all the coding part, we present that to the judges. And well, I I would say that it depends on you, because if you want to go deep in that project and take it as a personal project, you can continue developing. So I would say it's like a personal decision what happens next.
Awesome. Okay. And another question is, how long do we have to present? Do you guys remember how long you had to present? I think it was around 7-10 minutes, right?
Really? It wasn't like
Uh,
2 to 5?
Oh, was it? Oh, my bad.
Well,
Sorry.
I remember on saying that it depended on the amount of projects for the presentation time. But I remember it
Okay.
being like 2 to 5, but
Okay.
you can get a lot done in 2 to 5, I promise.
Okay. What do we do exactly on February 19 to 20? I think 2 days are a little short. So the schedule for that will be out shortly. When our topics announced, they're announced on the day of the hackathon. So yeah, it's part of like the project, right? You think of the project on the same day as the hackathon through the hackathon time. Okay, will we remain in our teams or will the hackathon rearrange us? So if you have ready, like if you enter the hackathon with the team, you can stay with that team. But if you don't, which is the case with a lot of people because a lot of you are beginners, you'll be placed in teams. Where can I get? Okay, where can I get the things you already code and made? I think the things that the participants coded is like their own. So unless they posted it somewhere, I don't think you can get it anywhere. You want to elaborate on that, you guys?
For that is not really accessible to you. You just go in and create your own thing. But for the workshops gives you examples of how to make things. So how to make a cookie, how to make the cookie smile. It was, so you can go on the workshops. Oh, listen guys. So where to find these workshops? It's on YouTube. So you type in Nebula SSF, that's the name of their YouTube channel, and you will find the workshops there. So the code that was done before is not accessible to you. You just have to go in the workshop and do everything that the person who's doing the workshop is doing, because that is the best practice. Just do what they tell you to do. So when you have done that, you should be fine. Once you have listened to the HTML, JavaScript, and SSC, I think that's the name. Yeah, SSC.
CSS.
You should be
CSS.
fine, because those are all the things that makes up your code or makes your code full and workable. So the workshops are that's where you have to go.
Okay, awesome. Thank you for that elaboration. How many people are there in a group? There's around 3 to 5 people in a group. What if we entered individually and formed teams? Can we stay with the team too? I am not sure about that. I think you will have to ask the people. I will check with that because I have to ask with the person who's forming the teams for that. Is a Facebook account required? Yeah.
You have to email them and tell
Yeah.
them, I want to join with a team.
Exactly. Thank you, Micaela. Is a Facebook account required? No, it is not. How many emails have been sent out? I've only received one. Oh, I think you'll have to email the person who sent you that email and figure out why you only received one. It might be because you're on a wait list for the actual hackathon. Because unfortunately, we want to take everybody, but it's really hard to make sure everybody who signed up is in the actual hackathon. So you might have been placed on a wait list. So yeah, we'll have to check with the person on that. Can the person who doesn't have a team be placed? Yes. So if you email email SSF, whoever sends you guys the emails, then, and you want to join a team that's already been formed, you can do that. So until the 19th, we practice on our own with help of workshops. Yeah, exactly. So until the 19th, there's like workshops that we hold. Next week, we have a Women in Tech panel, which is super fun. I know that these three really enjoyed that workshop, that panel. It's basically like super established women in tech who have like been in STEM for the longest time, and they're talking about their experiences. It's really, really fun. So you should join that. Okay, if you're not getting emails, make sure you email the actual like SSF email and then figure out why you're not getting emails, because those are important, and that there is important information in that. Okay. Oh, using your phone for coding is really difficult. I think you need a laptop for that, or a laptop or a computer, because phones don't, also a lot of phones don't have the hardware required for coding, so that's would be difficult with that. All right. So I have some last minute, that's all the time we have for questions. If you have any other questions, you can reach out to me or any of the panelists. I have a couple more things to share really quickly. Just some information, last reminders. So okay, so we did send you an email about joining Discord. Discord is where all the communication comes to Discord, as we've mentioned before. So on Discord, you can chat with other hackathon participants, ask questions to the hackathon staff and members. And as the hackathon date comes closer, a lot of information will be sent through Discord. So terms, guidelines, any announcements, and we will let you know which teams you're in soon. So Discord can also help you form teams or like form relationships with people. There was an email sent about how to join like a Discord server, about the download and all of that. And there's also a tutorial if you've never used Discord before, which some of you may have never used Discord, that's also in the email. Okay, so and next week, as I mentioned before, we have the Women in Tech panel. Attendance for that is mandatory, but I'm telling you, even if it's not mandatory, you really, really should attend. It's so fun. It's amazing to talk about these women here, talk about their experiences in tech, and they're just like people you look up to, right? It's very inspiring to listen to. I had a lot of fun last time when I was there. Okay, and this is the YouTube channel. And as you can see, there's like some workshops already there. And I do believe that there will be more workshops coming up. So that is all the time we have today. If there's any questions, you can reach out to me at my email. Let me put that in the chat. Or you can email Nebula SSF, so that they might know a little bit more information than I do. But you can reach out to me at that email. Let me stop the recording.